One tranquil evening in the soothing warmth of a hot tub in Pine Ridge, Colorado, turned my world upside down, reshaping everything I thought I knew about trust, boundaries, and the stirrings of my own heart. The crisp mountain breeze grazed my skin as I lingered on the back deck, lost in quiet thoughts. The soft hum of the hot tub wove a calming rhythm through the night stillness. Typically, our home thrummed with energy when Claire, my stepmother, hosted her lively gatherings, filled with laughter and the clink of glasses. But tonight, it was just me, Ethan, a 23-year-old fresh from college, sipping a glass of wine I'd quietly nabbed from the fridge. Staying at home while plotting my next move had its perks. Moments like this, wrapped in the serenity of a starlit night. Or so I thought. The faint creak of the sliding glass door snapped me out of my reverie. I glanced over to see Claire stepping out, her laughter blending with that of her friends, Sophie and Mia, each holding a drink, their faces alight with carefree joy. Their arrival caught me off guard, a flicker of self-consciousness sparking as they spotted me. "Ethan, what are you doing out here all by yourself?" Claire called, her voice warm with that playful charm that had steadied me since she joined our family years ago. I shrugged, caught in a moment of hesitation, unsure how to respond. I hadn't expected company, least of all theirs. As they approached, I noticed their swimsuits peeking from beneath light cover-ups, clearly bound for the hot tub. Sophie flashed a warm smile. "Come join us," she said, her tone open and inviting, like a hand extended. Before I could reply, Claire was beside me, deftly snagging my wine glass with a teasing grin. "Don't just sit there, Ethan. The water's calling," she said, her eyes sparkling with that familiar mischief. A mix of excitement and unease swirled within me. Their warm, encouraging gazes made it tough to decline. After a brief pause, I nodded, rising as Sophie and Mia, giggling softly, shed their cover-ups and slipped into the steaming water. Their laughter danced through the cool night air, both welcoming and disarming. I hesitated at the edge, that old feeling of being an outsider tugging at me, one Claire had always eased. "Water's perfect," she said, winking with a playful nudge. I couldn't resist. I stepped into the hot tub, the warm water enveloping me like a gentle hug, melting away tension I hadn't noticed. I settled in, hyper-aware of Claire's presence beside me, her shoulder just inches away. "Chill out, Ethan," Mia said, her voice a soothing balm, warm and encouraging. "We're all here to soak up the moment." Claire handed me a fresh glass of wine, her fingers grazing mine a moment longer than needed, sending a small spark through me. Was it the water's warmth, the wine, or their company? A sense of ease settled in, loosening the tightness in my chest. The conversation flowed like the water around us, laced with laughter and playful splashes, a rhythm that felt natural yet charged with something unspoken. Beneath the surface, a subtle tension thrummed. Claire's gaze lingered on me at times, her expression hard to pin down, warm, curious, maybe something deeper. Her shoulder brushed mine as she spoke, her hand occasionally resting lightly on my arm. I tried to keep it light, laughing at their stories, but my pulse quickened, betraying my calm facade. Sophie and Mia watched us, their smiles carrying a quiet knowing, as if they felt the shift in the air. The mood had changed, tingling with an energy I couldn't quite name. Claire leaned closer, her presence steady and intense, though we didn't address it. A shiver ran through me as I noticed Sophie and Mia inching nearer, their gazes woven with a shared warmth, inviting and soft. Sophie's smile deepened, her eyes catching the starlight in a way that stirred a flutter in my stomach. The blend of warm water, wine, and their closeness blurred the moment's edges, making it feel like a dream. Claire's voice dropped to a whisper, murmuring something soft and unexpected, her words lost in the steam but heavy with intent. My breath hitched, unsure how to respond. Sophie and Mia shared a quiet chuckle, their presence amplifying the moment. The water swirled around us, warm and comforting, but the emotions inside me were sharper, layered with a connection I couldn't define. Claire leaned in again, her expression playful yet searching. Sophie and Mia were close now, their warmth enveloping me, their eyes holding a quiet question. The moment felt heavy, not with action but with unspoken possibility. I stayed still, my thoughts loud against the quiet night. Mia's fingers brushed my arm lightly, a gentle gesture that deepened my confusion. "You deserve to feel this," she said softly, her eyes meeting mine with a warmth that was both comforting and unsettling. My voice caught, words escaping me. I nodded, and my heart racing as the moment deepened, not with declarations but with a quiet acknowledgement of something new. Claire's hand rested briefly on my knee, a gesture of reassurance, and we sat there, wrapped in steam, the silence speaking louder than words. I shifted slightly, the water clinging to my skin, trying to untangle the emotions swirling within me. The cool night air contrasted with the tub's heat, grounding me as I breathed deeply, torn between stepping back and leaning into the moment. No one hurried to break the silence. Sophie and Mia stayed close, their quiet glances suggesting they knew this was more than a casual night. The evening unfolded into a haze of laughter, warmth, and connection, hard to pin down but impossible to forget. It wasn't about touch. It was about the emotional weight of being seen, of sharing a moment that felt both fleeting and timeless. Eventually, Claire, Sophie, and Mia rose from the water, wrapping themselves in towels, their soft laughter trailing as they headed inside. Claire lingered a moment, turning to me with a look that shimmered in the moonlight. "Ethan," she said softly, then slipped into the house. I stayed in the hot tub, the warm water calming my racing heart. The night had been intense, unexpected, and unforgettable. As I leaned back, closing my eyes, a quiet smile crept across my face. Something had shifted, and I felt a mix of nerves and excitement about what lay ahead. The next morning, I woke with a faint headache and a flood of memories. For a moment, I wondered if it had been a dream, the hot tub, Claire, Sophie, Mia. But as I shook off sleep, the reality settled in, vivid and real. The house was quiet, the early light filtering through the kitchen windows. I half expected to see Claire at the stove, but the room was empty. A note on the counter caught my eye. "Out for brunch with the girls? Back soon. Claire." Relief hit me. I wasn't ready to face her yet. I needed time to process the night. Sipping coffee, my mind drifted to the warmth of Claire's gaze, the softness of Sophie's smile, Mia's gentle voice. In the stark light of day, a twinge of guilt crept in. Claire was my stepmother after all, and Sophie and Mia were her friends. What had I stepped into? The front door clicked open, pulling me from my thoughts. Claire walked in, looking refreshed, her smile warm but tinged with something else, nervousness maybe, or anticipation. "Morning," she said casually, her eyes meeting mine briefly. "Sleep okay?" I nodded, words failing me. She busied herself with the kettle, the silence thickening until she turned to face me. "About last night," she began, and my heart jumped. "I hope you're not uneasy." I shook my head. "Not uneasy, just surprised," I admitted. Her smile softened, a flicker of relief in her eyes. "It wasn't planned," she said. "It just unfolded." We talked, clearing the air. Claire assured me Sophie and Mia were discreet, that what happened in the hot tub was ours, alone. She said she didn't regret it, but understood if I wanted to move on. But did I? Over the next few days, the night lingered in my thoughts. The brush of Claire's shoulder, the sound of their laughter, the warmth of their presence. A week passed, and life seemed to slip back into routine. Claire and I moved through our days as usual, no mention of that night, but a subtle tension hummed between us, a new energy that hadn't existed before. One afternoon, she knocked on my door. "Can we talk?" she asked, sitting on the edge of my bed, her silk robe catching the light. My mind flashed to the hot tub, her figure in the steam. "I've been thinking about that night," she said, her voice low. "Wondering if you'd want to talk more, just us." My heart raced. "What do you mean?" I asked, though I sensed her meaning. She placed a hand on my knee, her touch gentle. "If you're okay with it, just the two of us." I should have said no, but the memory of her warmth, her understanding gaze was too strong. "Okay," I said, my voice barely audible. "Let's see where it goes." That night, we stayed up, wrapped in a silence that spoke of trust and connection. We talked about the past, her joining our family, my uncertain future, about fears and dreams. It wasn't just physical closeness, it was emotional, a bond that felt both fresh and familiar. Over the weeks, Claire and I found a new rhythm. By day, we were stepmother and stepson. By night, we shared quiet moments of connection, talking, laughing, holding space for each other. It was intimate in a way that defied simple labels, rooted in understanding rather than anything overt. One evening, as we lay on the couch, Claire propped herself up, her eyes searching mine. "I need to ask you something, Ethan," she said, her voice hesitant. My pulse quickened. "How would you feel about including others, like Sophie and Mia?" I blinked, caught off guard. She nodded, reading my expression. "They've asked about you." I paused, considering. "We don't have to," she added quickly. "I'm happy with just us, but sometimes a little variety adds something." I pulled her close, my lips brushing her forehead. "You're my anchor," I whispered. The next weekend, Sophie and Mia joined us again. A private gathering, Claire called it. The nervous energy of that first night was gone, replaced by a comfortable warmth. The evening unfolded with laughter and shared stories, layered with a connection that felt both exciting and safe. Months passed, and Claire and I grew closer, our bond the heart of this new dynamic. Sophie and Mia joined occasionally, bringing a spark of excitement, but never overshadowing what Claire and I shared. There were challenges, moments of doubt, fear of judgment, but we faced them with honesty, talking through every uncertainty. One night, after Sophie and Mia left, Claire and I curled up on the couch. "I need to tell you something," she said, her voice trembling. My heart skipped. "I think I'm falling in love with you, Ethan." Relief flooded me. "Claire," I said, cupping her face, "I've been in love with you for a while." We stayed close, talking about a future we knew others might not understand, but determined to make our own. As summer faded into fall, we settled into a new normal. To the world, we were stepmother and stepson. But in private, we shared a connection born from that unexpected night in the hot tub. One crisp autumn evening, we sat on the deck, watching the sunset paint the Colorado sky. "You know," Claire said, smiling, "I never thought that night would lead to this." I laughed, pulling her close. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I reflected on the journey, a whirlwind of discovery, trust, and love. The future was uncertain, but with Claire by my side, I knew we'd face it together.
Thank you for listening. Please share your thoughts, like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more.